Hello, and welcome
to We'll Figure It Out.
3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome to We'll Figure It Out. We're your hosts, Blake,
Travis,
and Mike.
And today we're talking about an interesting topic of underrated TV shows, which we told you we would do in the last episode. So, to jumpstart things, we're just going to get into it. Do you want me to...
You go first.
Go first.
Right.
Yeah, why not?
So, what I was pondering in the 5-second countdown we had was what TV show I wanted to talk about. Because, I'm not going to lie to you, I completely forgot we were going to record today. And then it hit me. I didn't have to think. Because a very underrated TV show that I actually really like is Daredevil by Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I find it underrated is not because of the first season. The first season was a hit. Everyone loved it. Because the second season, no one talked about it. No one appreciated it. Except for, like hardcore Marvel fans. But as far as a standalone TV show, no one cared for it. I think it was kind of a disappointment that it was so underrated because it was really well done.
I think I could see partly where they're coming from with being underrated. No one liked the whole Matt and Karen thing, but
At the same time, though, it was so beautifully done.
it was beautifully done.
Even the one episode where Punisher made an appearance, I
it was
loved
more
it.
than one episode. It was like
The
second half
first
of the
one.
season.
The first one.
Okay.
The first one where it made an appearance. I loved it. It was dark. It was grim. It had the gore that Marvel Comics has that the other shows and movies are leaving out. Because, obviously you can't put the same amount of gore in the comics onto a big screen for Marvel because it's owned by Disney. However, the thing I loved is the fact that Daredevil broke that rule. It showed the grim and dirty and nitty underworld, an underbelly, if you will, of Marvel. What most comic readers came to know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, Deadpool did the same thing. I will say that. Deadpool did show that same nitty-gritty. But Deadpool's more of a comedy to me.
Well, Deadpool's also owned by Fox, so they're
Indeed,
allowed
that
to
is
get
true.
away with it. That's the one thing I like about it. Now, granted, Fox and some of the other don't have the financial backing of Disney, but then again, if you're Disney, they're not really going to pull a rated R movie very well.
That's very true. Adding to that, though, the fact that... Now, actually, this is one question I did have. Do you guys know if Daredevil is being put out by Fox or Disney? Either or?
I believe it's strictly Netflix, isn't it?
It is.
Netflix?
It is back owned by Marvel Studios. Is no longer owned by Fox.
Okay.
So it is put out by Marvel, which by definition through Disney. But
it's kind of a project Disney more or less just swept under the rug. Like, nah, this isn't ours.
Well, I think it got contracted to, like I said, it's
through
contracted to
Netflix.
Netflix.
They
They have a little more liberty.
technically are still calling it part of the same cinematic universe, making vague references to the Avengers and
yeah.
stuff, but
Regardless,
they're not focusing too close.
the reason I'm asking that is because you see Age of Ultron, you see other movies like that. Yeah, it shows, say, buildings falling down, and it implies people are getting killed. It shows where Crossbones gets, obliterated by his suicide vest. It shows that. It doesn't show the gore. It doesn't show the guts. It doesn't show the blood. But there's one scene that sticks out for me in Daredevil where he, who was it that had his head smashed? It's been a while since I see that
It
episode.
was
was
one
it?
of the Russians by Fisk.
Yeah. Had his head crushed into the car door.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just hear the car door close. And the body's still sitting up against the car, which implies, hey, his head's obliterated.
And you see blood.
And you see the
dripping
blood, not just dripping, but like pooling underneath of him. That's something you don't see in a Marvel movie. Or a Marvel TV show. You don't see it. Why? Because Marvel has to appeal to a wide range of audience.
Mm-hmm.
It has to appeal to young and old viewers. Daredevil kind of blurs that line. And that's why I love it, but at the same time, I think that's also why it's underrated. Because most people are steering away from it because of the fact that it's not your stereotypical Marvel film or show this day.
Well, Daredevil's also kind of an anti-hero. Everyone likes the, for lack of a better term, the glam, the glitz and everything. You would have like a Thor or Iron Man. Trust me, I don't think there's a single person out there that wouldn't want to have Tony Stark's fortune.
Very true.
They're getting ready to release the Black Panther movie.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I saw in the trailer, if you haven't seen the trailer, you need to YouTube.
Yeah,
But
new one's out.
that's very impressive from what I'm seeing. But you're right. A lot of the anti-heroes, they're gonna. I think that's the whole reason why they're putting it on Netflix is because there's not really a censorship through Netflix. So you don't have to worry about what can I not show on television, which is why they're able to put the darker heroes on there, such as Punisher, Luke Cage, Daredevil, so on and so
That brings
forth.
up another point as well, though. Another show I think was really underrated. It's in the same area. Iron Fist.
Yeah.
These are
Yeah.
fantastic shows. If you're watching them, they're beautifully done. In my opinion, they're beautifully done. There are a few things I would change here or there to make it a little bit more accurate to the comics, but at the same time, it doesn't need to be 100% comic accurate for it to be good. You're
But-
never going to find a film adaptation of a book that's going to be the exact same as the book. You're never going to find a film adaptation or a show adaptation of a comic that's going to be exactly the same as the comic. Watching it from a TV viewer standpoint, Iron Fist is great. And it's another show that is very ill talked about.
Because it was doomed from the start before it even began because they cast a white actor. Which is ironic because everyone complains, oh, this thing's strayed too far from the comics. No, he's white in the comics. But everyone wanted him to be Asian in the show, even though he's white in the comics.
They wanted him to be Asian?
Because they didn't like the idea of a white guy coming into like a typical like a China Asian thing and like getting all the like being the white savior trope thing.
It was also coming from the fallout from Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
They whitewashed
The
that
ancient one, yep.
He's white. Am I missing something here?
It was 2017. We all get offended by something.
Mm-hmm.
At what point are we going to take a step back and say, you know, if I'm going to make a film adaptation of this, where this character physically appears this way, but I'm going to change him into this. Like, it's not meant to offend. It really is not. It's meant to be an accurate depiction of the comic character. If I were to take that same character, completely alter his outfit, change all the colors on him, you couldn't tell it was the same character. And when I say colors, I mean like, say, his green and yellow suit. Let's make it, say, blue and purple. You wouldn't be able to tell. If I were to then take that exact same character, instead of making him his average, say, 5'8" to 6 foot tall, let's make him 4'3". You wouldn't be able to tell it's Iron Fist. When are we going to stop altering everything to make it politically correct and actually enjoy something theatrically? Because theatrically, they got it right. Theatrically, it's really well done.
I mean, there are a few episodes that were a little hit and miss, but overall, it was a lot better than people gave it credit for, which is why it's
Episode to
underrated.
episode, every show's going to have a hit and miss. I
Yes.
mean, The Office has some hit and miss, you know. Trailer Park Boys has some hit and miss, which also, I forget who it was, but one of the actors of that series just passed away, so my condolences to his family. But every show is going to have some hit and miss episodes. Iron Fist has a lot of hits, a few misses here and there. The fact that people were dooming it from the start because they wanted to change the character is another reason it's underrated. You can't alter something to the point that it's completely different from what you're trying to hit. That would be like taking Superman, and instead of making him, you know, Superman, you completely change him to the point that it's politically correct. Oh, well, we can't have a strong, prominent, you know, dark-haired, blue-eyed guy. We have to make it, you know, more PC.
They did change Superman. Oh, sorry, it's 2017. We can't have him smiling anymore, like typical happy superhero.
He's no longer American, also.
Really? What is he?
I can't remember what the comic said, but he basically canceled his citizenship. He came right out and did it. And I can't remember the panel. We could try to find it, but I believe, correct me if I'm wrong,
Was it post November 2016?
I believe so. Where he came right out and said he no longer stood for truth, justice, and the American way.
I'm going to lay it out for you guys. When I was 18, I enlisted in the Army. I love my country. I sincerely 100% do. When you start changing pop culture because you're offended by something, you're ruining it for the people that aren't offended by it. What personally offends me is offended people. So if we're going to ban things that are offensive, ban yourself. That's all I have to say on that. the reason there are so many underrated shows and movies out there is because people constantly put it down. Well, I don't like this, so it's bad. Cool. I don't necessarily like vegan tacos. Not gonna ban it because someone else likes them. Just saying. If it's not for you, don't watch it. Don't belittle it because it doesn't suit your preference. Let someone else enjoy it. And I think you're gonna see that same trend down the line as well. Especially yours, because there's people that were like putting it down and everything, saying like, oh, there's references to like the Illuminati. And we'll get to it. My point being, if it's not for you, it's not for you. That's all I gotta say. And I'm gonna stop talking now before I get too heated. So we're gonna move along and end it with, I think both Iron Fist and Daredevil were fantastic, and I think they were so underrated because people kept doing them from the get-go. Moving right along.
I agree.
I was actually going to switch to Iron Fist, but then you brought it up already, so I'm going to go back to my original.
I'm kind of glad that I did that then.
Because we still got a chance to talk about it, which was good. I'm going to go with my original thing. Little TV show, only had that one season, called Caprica.
Yes.
Now, you'd be familiar with it. You've seen an episode or two of it.
I have. I saw the last couple episodes of it. My brother Matt, who's been on the show a couple times, he watched it religiously. He kept trying to get me to see it. I tried to watch the first episode, and it was painfully slow. Kind of reminded me of the first Hulk movie. It took them almost the entire movie to explain who the Hulk was. This was worse to me.
Let me give a little backstory as to what Caprica is. If you ever seen the show Battlestar Galactica, not the 70s and 80s version, but...
I'm just trying to get the rest of the helium out. If you see me doing that throughout the podcast, I inhaled a lot of helium, so I'm just cycling it out. Continue.
There will be bloopers.
You'll see it.
It was a prequel to the reimagined 2003 series, kind of explaining how the Cylons got there, how all this happened, but it was a completely different theme as the original series. It was more... There was legal... there was legal stuff in the one, but it was like courtroom things. There was... just regular stuff, but it also branched off into other things like VR and virtual worlds and stuff you would never expect to see in Battlestar Galactica if you watch that show.
Yeah.
And it was slow build, but it did have a cool payoff in the end where you got to see some action and everything. I really recommend you give it a shot again.
Yeah, well, it was really disappointing because I do remember seeing the last, I think it was 2 or 3 episodes. We had DVR'd the last little bit of it. I figured, I knew that they were going to take it off the air. This is how sci-fi does. When as things begin to get good, they kill it. I'm still a little bitter about Stargate. Anyway, I remember watching the last few episodes of my brother and then watching the finale and being just absolutely pissed that they ended it. So I was like, oh my god, because they show you in the finale where they wanted to go in season 2. And truly, they killed a really good show. They didn't give it enough time to get into its prime. I think they killed it because they wanted it to have the same popularity as Battlestar Galactica, but it was a different story and a different genre of the story. And of course, it has a beginning that it needs to build up. You have characters that you don't know anything about. You have to build up the character. You have to be able to have an attachment to the character, and that takes time. And they just killed it. I think that's genuinely. I think they were looking for another Battlestar Galactica, another Lost, and they didn't give it the time to develop.
And that plays back into it as well as expectations for something kill entertainment these days. Because people expect it to be what they're going to like. And then there's viewers that sincerely love it for what it truly, purely is. But because it's not what the popular opinion thinks it should be, it dies. Which means all the fan base that could have been built for it dies.
Well, it does that. I mean, you have a bunch of people counters that have no idea what they're talking about. I mean, we talked about it earlier before we started recording, but Firefly, for instance.
Firefly.
They did a poll, and it was rated the top sci-fi show of however many years. Fox absolutely killed it. They played the episodes in the wrong order. They did this horrible thing. And the cast still shows up. The Comic Cons and things like that, and everyone goes crazy. There's even petitions to try to bring it back.
And they come back as a movie. But...
It came back as Serenity. That's actually the first time I ever saw Firefly was Serenity. It was in like the $5 bin or something at Walmart. And I'm like, what is this? Let me go to try. And I loved it. From that point, I was like, this is absolutely incredible. But they just did a horrible job portraying that. There's other TV shows and things like that. But you can always tell if the show's good. It's underrated, but there's a huge cult following behind it. The producers did a bad job, and they should really rethink that. But then again, I'm also one that believes that if you try to reboot a series, it's not going to have the same quality.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that kind of... Just one little way I could exemplify that would be looking at the Clone Wars, trying to bring back the original Clone Wars animated series. Two completely different things.
Yeah.
They were trying to live up to the original expectation at first, and since it was classified a children's show at the time, I remember I watched the original episode Rookies. It was season 1, I think episode 3. Okay, that I watched it from the beginning. I watched every episode of the new Clone Wars series. Mm-hmm. And there was this one scene where they say verbatim after the Rishi Eel attacks one of the clones, he says, "What the hell is that?" Okay, and it was just one word, just one word. What the hell was that? Okay, it's pretty common nowadays. A lot of people say it as like, what on earth? It's commonplace these days. Cartoon Network had to issue an apology publicly on the air to viewers stating, we're sorry that this offended people, blah, blah, blah. And they edited the episode. You cannot find the original episode anymore.
Was this the new...
This was the new one, yeah.
The new Clone Wars, not the original cartoon?
This was the new one.
Okay.
The original cartoon, though, was known to be kind of, gritty. That's what they were trying to do. And immediately, episode 3, the entire audience was different. They were trying to aim for that same audience point that liked the nitty-gritty. They tried to do that. They had clones getting eaten, blah, blah, blah. And then, obviously, later down the road, there were zombies and everything like that. And it was great. I loved it. No more expletives the entire series. If you read some of the notes they had, they had to change a lot of the screenplays going down the line because it was meant to be nitty-gritty. And then they realized, wait, our audience is totally different. It's the same thing.
I will say this, though. Clone Wars, I still haven't seen all of it because there's definitely some episodes that's just like small filler that just doesn't interest me. Mm-hmm. But season 6, I believe, the one that never actually aired on TV that was only on Netflix, that was probably my favorite season.
Was that 6?
I think it was 6.
How many seasons? I got so lost in it, man. Like,
I think
loved it.
There were 5 seasons on TV, and then there was one final one they made, but then Disney bought them out and pulled it, but then they put it on Netflix.
Yeah.
That one went so deep in the show's mythology, it was just really good. It was really building up right to the beginning of episode 3.
It was fantastic.
I don't know if that would be related to underrated, because maybe towards the end it was still really good, but people were giving it the credit it deserved.
The fan base was dropping off.
Yeah.
That's where it kind of hurt me. Was it was getting so close to episode 3. The armor was there for the clone troopers. Mm-hmm. The characters were developing into their episode 3 characters, that people were getting tired of it. They were like, well, I know what's going to happen now. It's going to go right into the Clone Wars. It's going to go right in episode 3. They were getting ready for it, and then when they announced, okay, well, you're not going to see the last season of it, people stopped. Because it was originally just Cartoon Network that was airing it, and then they were just like, what's the point? Now I gotta go get a Netflix subscription? Forget this. Killed their fan base. And that Netflix season, if they put it on the air, would have killed it.
A lot of these underrated shows all boil down to bad decisions. For instance, mine. The television show I'm going after is actually Gravity Falls. Mm-hmm. I never heard of Gravity Falls. It didn't have anything to do with it until I started watching Rick and Morty. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those episodes where it was toward the end of... No, it was after season 2. Mm-hmm. So I was waiting for season 3 to come out. So I was on YouTube, and I'm trying to watch all the commentaries and things. And I got on another channel, and someone had started talking about Gravity Falls, how it was attached, not officially, but to Rick and Morty. And I started thinking, like, what is Gravity Falls all about? So I went online, I went on Amazon, and I bought the first season. And then I completely forgot about it because I started going back and watching my Rick and Morty seasons. And then as season 3 came out, I think it was the first or second episode of season 3, I got tired of waiting for the next week's episode to come out.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, you know what? While I'm waiting, let me go at least backtrack and see about Gravity Falls. So I went into my Amazon Video, put on Gravity Falls, and I started watching it, and the thing just draws you in. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's a show that has to deal with paranormal and weird activities going on in this town, Gravity Falls.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's like Washington or something like that.
Sounds like it's in
I think it's in Washington.
I think it is.
Anyway, and the main characters are 12 years old in the beginning of the series, and
You actually
it deals with all these really deep subjects and weird paranormal, like I said, paranormal activities and everything. And here's the funny thing: it appeared on the Disney Channel.
That's what I loved about it.
I mean, it has the Disney style animation. The characters, at first, it seemed when you first watched the very first episode, it seems like it was going to be one of those really stupid cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
But it has this quirk to it. As you begin to watch, you begin to realize, wait a minute, I can't let go of this. I have to keep watching it. And
It's because it progresses so well, too.
it does progress extremely well. And the continuity along with it. That's something I've always liked about television shows is continuity. If something happens in, say, episode 2, it continues on to the other episodes. They don't just forget that it happened.
Which is
Oregon.
a lot of things on shows now. Everyone assumes you have such a short attention span, they don't have as many overarching shows anymore.
It's Oregon.
Oregon.
Gravity
Washington.
Falls, Roadkill County, Oregon.
All right, well, there we are. Gravity Falls, Roadkill County, Oregon. So, either way, it's out there on the West Coast. But great television show. I highly recommend you go and take a look at it and see. Once again, it's not officially connected to Rick and Morty, but there's little Easter eggs here and there. As a matter of fact, if you go and get, there's a journal that they talk about in the series. You can actually buy it on Amazon. I don't know what the price of it is, but if you get it, there's little like codes and things that they have inside the book that you have to cipher. And they make mention to Rick, and they have different things from the Rick and Morty series. But it was underrated, and I think a lot more people began to watch it after Rick and Morty, because Rick and Morty had this weird, and still has this really weird way of it just took over pop culture.
Somehow, it blows my mind.
It's just Rick and Morty, and figure it out for yourselves. We all know Rick and Morty. But there's this cult following for Gravity Falls. And I didn't even realize it until after I started watching it. And it was one of those TV shows for me. I mean, there's only certain shows that I can watch that I can binge watch. Because I'll get tired after a few episodes and I'll move on to something else.
Mm-hmm.
But I found out that after I was watching Gravity Falls, I had watched the entire first season in one day.
Wow.
And I was like, well, wait a minute, this doesn't happen. It's rare for me to do that.
Now, how many episodes and how long are the episodes?
Half hour. Well,
It's half-hour
22
episodes,
minutes.
and it's about 10 episodes per season.
Okay, so kind of shorter.
Like 3 hours worth of a season, though.
Yeah.
It's like a movie length.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just powered through it, and I couldn't end it there. I was on Amazon. I'm like, wait a minute, what do you mean that the season's over? Because it got to the last episode, didn't even realize it was the last episode, and it asked me if I want to pay for the next
season.
thing. I was like, okay, well, wait a minute. So I just got my paycheck. I had some money to burn because I always put in my budget. I have this stuff I call blow money. I can just blow the money on whatever the hell I want. It doesn't matter. So I bought the rest of the seasons. I'm like, okay, I have to, because It's just one of those things. You ever just do it and you're like, this may be a stupid decision later on, but I
Every
did it.
single day, according to my parents.
Oh, okay. Well, that's probably from their podcast. But no, I did it, and I thought, well, what if I just wasted $30 extra on something that, I mean, not 30, 60 extra bucks.
It was $60.
$60. It was $20 a season.
Oh. Okay.
And I was just like, I don't know, but I was wrong. I watched the whole thing. I powered through it. It took me about a weekend to get through everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it was all said and done, I found myself at the very end of it going, are you kidding me? It's over? And I thought, so I had to go figure out, why did it end? Was this something that Disney decided they wanted to do? That they pull a Fox and decide, hey, screw your show, I'm going to get rid of it? I went on there. No, the creators said, look, we have a show. This is my story, and this is how many seasons I want to tell it in, because this is my time frame, and it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And once it ends, it ends. and there were people that were furious that it ended. Now, I mean, I give the artist and everyone who made the thing their prerogative. That's what they wanted. Good for them. Don't listen to anyone else telling them no, you can't do it. But it left such a fan base behind that it was extreme. Like I said, it was extremely underrated. And just reiterating what I said, I never knew anything about it until I watched Rick and Morty, and the Easter eggs are everywhere in Rick and Morty. There's an episode of Rick and Morty where Rick and Morty are running away from other Ricks. They had just got off the
Citadel.
They got the Citadel, running away from the Council of Ricks. And at one point, he goes on this planet, and he takes his portal gun and he shoots a bunch of portals at this wall, just so as the Ricks fall and we get confused. And he goes through one. But if you watch one of the portals, when he puts it on the wall and he walks away, you see these items get blown out of the portal. Well, in the very end of season 3, one of the characters, Stanford Pines, he's the great uncle to the
Grunkle Stan.
Grunkle Stan, that's it. He's sitting there and he has turned on this portal, and he's getting excited about it. And as the credits run, the 3 items that appeared on Rick and Morty get sucked through the portal.
Oh, nice.
And they come out on the other side.
You've got to be kidding me.
No, I'm serious. You can go take a look at it. But like I said, it's just one of those really incredible shows that is. I doubt they'd ever reboot it.
Real quick, actually, do you think we could put that in? Like, could we put that clip in?
We could probably put that
If we can put that
If we can
clip
find
in,
it.
like,
I own it.
You own the clip?
I own it. We
All
have
right, so-
screen capture software on there. We'll be.
I'll
doing
tell you
later.
what we should do is crop out where it's gonna get sucked in, and then immediately place where he's putting the portals in it, the 3 items come flying out. So we're gonna put that right over here. Like, this is gonna be filled with that, and then we're gonna pick it up right now. So if you saw that clip, okay, ready?
Yes, Blake has actually agreed to do the editing for this episode.
Yes, he has.
So ready, set. All right. So as you saw in that clip, that was hilarious. That's fantastic.
So it's one of those things that I really truly hope that, as much as I would love to see them reboot it, I don't want them to.
It ended.
And unless you get them to, you get the original voice actors, you get the same animation team together, or people that are at this on par with it. Because I hate it when you have like the copy, like, we're training the artist, let them go ahead and do the sequel.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. If you're able to pull that off and you have a story to go along with it, then I would accept it. And there's a lot of people out there that have been asking. I even think there was a petition to try to bring it back. But like I said, the creator was just like, no, I've told my story. I want to do it.
When something's good, you let it go. If you constantly are fighting for it to keep going and keep going and keep going, eventually you're going to get disappointed by it. If it ends on a high note, let it end.
Well, that's exactly right. And then going back to what you were talking about with Caprica, that's how they ended the Battlestar Galactica. They ended on a high note. They were offered, at least 1, if not 2 more seasons?
Yeah, they want to do it, but they're like, no, we have our story, and it's where we want to end.
They wanted to end on a high note on that. And you're right. If you're on top, why stretch it out until you burn out the entire audience?
Stay up there.
Why in the world are you doing it? And that's where Gravity Falls was. It ends, it leaves you wanting more, but you're also satisfied to the fact, okay, it ended well. And remember, a lot of this stuff that it's dealing with, it deals with like this, the apocalypse in a sense. They call it Weirdmageddon. They're dealing with apocalypse. They're dealing with all these other things, and it's on the Disney Channel.
This is bringing back so many memories.
So, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to insult Disney because there's a lot of people out there who probably hunt me down and kill me. But I think that was a hurdle that it had difficulty getting over, was the fact that it was on the Disney Channel.
Now imagine an Adult Swim version of that.
I think it would ruin it. I genuinely think it would ruin
so?
it. Just because on Adult Swim they keep trying to push the boundaries and things like that. With Rick and Morty, like I said, I love Rick and Morty.
They do push it really far.
Trying to get the two, even though they're loosely related, they can't do it officially due to tremendous legal obligations and things like that. I can see where they wouldn't be able to mix real well. But Justin Roiland is actually one of the voice characters. Is one of the voices of one of the characters in Gravity Falls, because I had just got done watching season 3 of Rick and Morty, and as I'm listening to one of the episodes, it's like, oh my god, that's Morty. He does the exact same voice as Morty as one of the characters in Gravity Falls, and I was like, I have to be certain, so I go online, look up this character, and sure enough, there's Justin Roiland sitting there.
What was the character?
I'm not going to give it away. I'll tell you after the camera's off when we're done. I'll do it, but you have to go look it up if you want to go see it.
All right. I like it.
But no,
cool.
it was one of those things. And there's actually another television show that was didn't get picked up by Cartoon Network. I think it was called Murder Police. The whole TV show didn't even get started. I mean, they had all this stuff because apparently there were little codes and things that were going on in Gravity Falls. Codes that you see in Rick and Morty and whatever Murder Police was supposed to be. And you'd be able to put them all together, and it was messages between all three of them because Justin Roiland is friends with the creator of Gravity Falls. I can't think of his name otherwise I'd say it. And then whoever the creator was of Murder Police, they were all friends, and they were going to voice act on each other's shows and things like that. But like I said, there's a book you can get. There's actually a journal. I think I've already said that, but just in case I didn't, that you can buy off Amazon. It's an actual hard copy of the journal from Gravity Falls, and there's little codes and things in there that you can cipher and decode and all these things like that. And at one point it says Rick was here. And if you've seen Rick and Morty, the Plumbus, I believe Anyway, there's a silhouette of a Plumbus. It says all the weird creatures that they found in Gravity Falls. There's a silhouette, which the Plumbus isn't even a creature. I don't think everyone ever said what the hell a Plumbus was. But anyway, it's there. They have Cthulhu from the opening credits of Rick and Morty's in the book as well. And other things. So you see creatures that Rick and Morty run into that are in the journal.
That's awesome.
And vice versa. And so it's cool. And there's little Easter eggs and things in Rick and Morty all the time. I think the funniest one is on one of the episodes they're on the Citadel Ricks. And as they're walking by, there's a Rick with two Mortys. But that's if you stop closely and take a look at it, the Mortys are actually Dipper and Mabel Pines, which are the main protagonists.
Are they dressed like them? Or?
They're dressed exactly like them, but it's still Morty's face, but you know it's them. So, I mean, there's all these things. You need to go on there and take a look at it. Go on, you're clearly on YouTube more than likely, or if you're on Facebook watching this, go on YouTube, look it up. I found a lot of these actually from the YouTube channel Film Theory, but there's a lot of other ones you can go take a look at, but they show everything in perspective, and I would really recommend doing it. And if you haven't seen Gravity Falls, if you haven't seen Caprica, if you haven't seen Daredevil, Iron Fist, and stuff like that, you need to watch. Fair warning on all these, though, they will suck you in, so make sure you have plenty of time. Yep, Blake just found Dipper and Mabel Pines.
You are kidding me.
Nope, they're right there. You know what? Don't show this in the podcast.
Nope.
Go look it up. You have to see it. It is incredible.
The fact that I'm geeking out says a lot. Because I loved Gravity Falls. I watched it when it was on Disney Channel. That's awesome. That's all I'm going to say. I love Easter eggs.
Yeah. I love when shows mix together different things. And
on that bombshell...
They do it all the time. All the time they make comments like that.
I'm checking that out now. But, and on that bombshell, it's time to end. Thank you for watching. And no, I'm just kidding. That's Top Gear. Thank you for joining us on this episode of We'll Figure It Out, where we discussed underrated TV shows. If you'd like to see a topic on our show in the future, well, feel free to suggest it. Unfortunately, I'm probably not going to be here for much longer. I have got something I got to handle for quite a while. And, well, Mike's going to be making appearances as he can. As you've all heard in the last episode, he's going to be, well, moving, sadly.
I'm going out of state, but I am going to be able to try to telecommunicate him.
I will write letters to home where I'm going. I will have no use of a cell phone, unfortunately. But I'll be writing letters, and hopefully you guys can, hear or read them on the show. Anyway.
And one last thing that I want to point out.
Yep.
We are starting a gaming channel,
So,
which Mike will be a part of even...
And we have the name, right? Should I announce it?
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to be WFIO Gaming. And in case you don't know what WFIO is, it's We'll Figure It Out. If we play Call of Duty, it's going to be our clan tag. If we play Battlefield, that'll be our platoon name. Anything, guys. So, also feel free to check out my own personal gaming channel. Each of us are going to have personal channels, obviously. Mine, at the moment, is going to be Bacon Senate Ammo. Don't ask.
He likes bacon.
I don't have an official one yet.
You don't have an official one yet? All right. And then you have one, right?
I have my channel. It's going to be up and running here shortly. It's called Binary Distress.
Okay.
It is purposely misspelled, just in case you take a look at it and you're like, this guy can't spell. I had to do that. You'd be surprised how many people can't pronounce the word binary properly.
I'll put mine and his names in the description. I will update the description once Travis has his YouTube up and running as well. We're going to be trying to do some...
Should we have a Twitch too eventually? Or?
Yeah, what I'm planning on doing is once I get the Elgato up and functioning and I figure out how to get chat audio recorded, well, I'll get Twitch going. So, thank you guys for joining us on this episode of We'll Figure It Out. Sincerely.
Yes, thank you.
If you guys could like and share the video, I'm not just saying that as a spiel. We really need your support. We would love to get this off the ground. We would love to be able to share our entertainment. Well, not our entertainment, but we'd love to be able to share entertainment with an even larger audience than we have currently.
Mm-hmm.
So tell your friends. Tell your friends to tell their friends. And maybe, even if they're not interested, they'll find someone who is interested. Because our main goal is to provide entertainment for you guys. I know this episode ran a little bit lengthy, but as I've said twice now, thank you for joining us on this episode, and join us next time as we figure it out. And that's a wrap, boys.
Mazel tov!